Hello everyone, I welcome you all to today's session. Today we are going to discuss occipital lobe. In occipital lobe, just like in other lobes, first we'll be looking into the anatomy. So on the lateral surface, on the lateral surface, it is separated from temporal and parietal lobe with an imaginary line. Just focus on this line. This is the line that we are talking about. Starts from parieto-occipital sulcus on the topmost margin and ends at a notch over here. So it's a line that runs from, it is separated from parietal and temporal lobe by an imaginary line. Okay, this line runs from parieto-occipital sulcus to a notch on the lower surface. This notch over here is called as pre-occipital notch. Now, this is the line running from parieto-occipital sulcus to pre-occipital notch. This differentiate it from both the parietal as well as the temporal lobe. On posteriorly, this is there on the anterior part. Posterior, we have occipital pole. Okay. Now, on the medial side, if we look, here also you can find that there is parieto-occipital sulcus on the top. Okay. And there is a calcarine sulcus that is over here. Here also you can see that both of them meet at one point. Okay. This is the point where they're meeting. And also there is a straight line that is running up till here from the pre-occipital notch. This region constitutes the occipital lobe. On the upper region, we have right occipital sulcus and in the lower it is again pre-occipital notch and imaginary line till it meets at the confluence of this two sulcus, parieto-occipital sulcus and calcarine sulcus. And calcarine sulcus. Okay. Now, after this, we have to know something very basic. So you have seen on the medial side and on the lateral side, or that is the outer side. Now, examiner tends to ask this question: what do you mean by the word occiput or occipital? Now, the word occiput in Latin, it means back of the head. Okay. And it is the smallest of the four lobes in brain. Smallest lobe in brain. Okay. And remember that when you look into the medial side, this is what are you going to get. So if you just trace it with the help, this is the parieto-occipital sulcus over here, and this is the preoptic notch. This is the calcarine fissure over here, and we have to just draw an imaginary line over here connecting this. So this part will be your occipital lobe. That is what I'm shading in yellow. Okay, so we have clearly delineated it. Now, looking into the parts, there are basically two parts which you can see. That is cuneus and lingual gyrus. So part of lingual gyrus forms the part of occipital lobe. Two parts. One is cuneus and the second part is lingual gyrus. Till pre-occipital notch. Okay, like we have studied in temporal lobe that there is a region, sorry, in parietal lobe, there is a region that is called as precuneus. Here in occipital, we have cuneus. Okay, remember this part, please. Now, again, remember this. This appears like a tongue. That is why it is called as lingual or lingula. It looks like a tongue, hence called as lingula or lingular gyrus. In some books, you'll find that it is only written as lingula. So please note this thing. So cuneus and lingula. Okay. Now, again, why I have placed this figure? Because of this calcarine fissure. I want you to focus on this. Calcarine fissure is one of the important fissure. Now, area 17, that is the primary visual area. It is situated in the upper and the lower banks of calcarine sulcus. So let's just mark it in this way that area 17 is situated on the upper and the lower banks. So consider calcarine fissure to be a river. Suppose this is a river, calcarine fissure. This is calcarine fissure. Area 17 is located on the upper and the lower banks. Okay. In the lower banks. This is where area 17 is located, which is primary visual area. Area 17 is primary visual area. Okay, now remember this visual cortex is also called a striate cortex. Okay, visual cortex is also called as striate cortex. Now see why? Because in fourth layer of this cortex, you have a very unique thing, that is white myelinated fiber layer. Okay, a white myelinated fiber layer is there. Now see, in this white myelinated fiber layer, this is also called as the white stria of Gennari. This is also called as white stria of Gennari. Okay, remember this. Now, see, if we consider this to be the striate cortex, this is where area 17 is located. I'll just draw it over here. Now, see, the striate cortex, it derives its vascular supply from posterior cerebral artery, in which the calcarine artery, which is located in the calcarine sulcus, is the main contributor. So remember that this primary visual area is being supplied by, writing it over here, supplied by calcarine artery, which is a part of posterior cerebral artery. Okay. Now, at the occipital pole, there is a unique thing that is happening. So here, what happens is at occipital pole, there is a anastomosis. Okay, there is an anastomosis between middle cerebral artery and posterior cerebral artery. Okay, remember that there is a anastomosis. Now, MCA, there is a superior occipital sylvian artery, which is from MCA, which anastomose with the calcarine artery. I'm just writing the name of the artery. Superior temporoparietal sylvian artery of MCA, and from PCA we have calcarine artery. Remember, because of this anastomosis, what is happening is when we see that because of this dual blood supply, this is one of the explanation why there is macular sparing, which is noticed in PCA occlusion. Okay, so this is what you need to know regarding anatomy. Now, after looking into the anatomy, we have to look into the visual pathways. Visual pathways, as you all have been studying throughout your MBBS and throughout your initial days. See, if we look into the visual pathway, always remember that it starts with the eye, the eyeball, comes back to the optic nerve, optic chiasm tract, and then definitely it will come back and will have a relay station in the lateral geniculate nucleus, and ultimately will form optic radiation and will land up in the primary visual cortex. Now, this is the basic that we need to know. Now, we have to build up on this because with this, we won't be able to look into the lesions that we have to study as a MD resident in psychiatry. Okay, this will give a fair enough idea regarding what is happening, but we need to inculcate some more detail. We need to incorporate some more detail so that we can understand the syndromes, the manifestations of occlusion or damage or lesion to any region of occipital lobe in a detailed manner. Okay, now, first of all, see this. Okay, here only, I'm just writing. Till here, if we start with the basics, we know that optic nerve, chiasm or chiasma. Then we have optic tract. From optic tract, we have a relay station in thalamus that is called as lateral geniculate body. Okay, lateral geniculate body is there. Then we have optic radiations. And then it will go to the op- occipital cortex. Before I move forward, just a view of what is happening in occipital cortex. Now, occipital cortex, we have area 17, that is called as primary visual cortex. We have area 18, that is called as the secondary visual area. Okay, this is associated with elaboration and synthesis of visual function. And synthesis of visual function. This is area 18. Now, we also have area 19. Okay, area 19 is concerned with integration of visual information, but from other modalities of information, language, and memory. Area 19 is associated with integration. Integration of visual information with other modalities. Okay, these other modalities of information, they are mostly language and memory. Okay, these are language and memory. Remember, this was called as the striate cortex. Remember, we have already discussed these two, 18 and 19. It will be called as extrastriate cortex. Okay, this will be called as extrastriate cortex. Okay, now this part is important. Now, extrastriate visual areas or extrastriate cortex, it is organized into two different separate system. Two different separate system. That is called as the ventral and the dorsal system. So one is the ventral system, one is the dorsal system. Okay, till here you have to know like this. Okay, now this is what we just saw. This occipital cortex has been elaborated in this manner. One is the striate cortex and one is the extrastriate cortex. Done? Now, after this, just one more thing I'll discuss in this one. Okay, these are the dorsal pathway and the ventral pathway which we just talked about. Okay, the dorsal pathway that is rising from the extrastriate cortex and ventral pathway that is also rising from the extrastriate cortex. That is what we are going to discuss in detail. Okay, but till for now we have to know that this is how things are going to be. This is just the bare minimum or the bare basics that you need to know. Now, apart from this, there are some other things that you need to know. first of all, you need to know that what are the layers of lateral geniculate body. Let's look into the layers of lateral geniculate body. So I'm just writing it over here. Lateral geniculate body. Okay. Now see, lateral geniculate body, it's a component or a nucleus that is there in thalamus. Lateral geniculate body has usually, as we know, that it has 5 layers. Okay, suppose this is the lateral geniculate body, it will be having 5 layers. Okay, one, okay, 3 layers, one, two, three, four, three, 4, and 5. Okay, let's keep it like this, 5 layers. Now, from layer 1 and 2, there arises a pathway. So let's name it like this, layer 1, 2, 3, and 5. Okay, remember this. It is numbered from 1, 2, 3, and 5 from inward outward. Remember this. It is numbered not from outside to inward. It is from inward outward. So I'll just zoom in. So this is 1, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now from 1 and 2, it there arises a pathway that is called as magnocellular pathway. Okay. And from 3, 4, and 5, there arises a pathway that is called as parvocellular pathway. 3, 4, 5. Okay. This is the lateral geniculate body, and that these are the two pathways that we are going to see. One is the magnocellular pathway. This is shown by the red line. And one is the parvocellular pathway. This is also called as the M pathway. Okay. This is called as the P pathway. That is parvocellular pathway. Now, after we have a look at this, let's look what is going to be the ultimate destination of these pathways. So magnocellular, 1 plus 2. Okay, I'll write it with the red ink. 1 plus 2. This is 3 plus 4 plus 5. Now, magnocellular pathway, the input to this pathway is from the magnocellular ganglion. Okay, so magnocellular ganglion from retina. From retina, it gives information to magnocellular pathway. Information. Okay, this is what gives the information to this pathway. Remember, this is there in retina and is a fast conducting pathway. Remember, it is fast. This is fast conducting pathway. Okay. Now, parvocellular on the other hand, on the parvocellular, if you look on the other hand, this is the magnocellular pathway that we have discussed. Parvocellular, if you look on the other hand, it arises from layer 3, 4, and 5. That is also we know. The input is from the parvocellular ganglion cells in the retina. The input is parvocellular ganglion cells. and it is a slow conducting pathway. Remember this. Parvocellular ganglion cells gives the input. Now, usually, if we just look into this part, magnocellular ganglion or the magnocellular pathway constitutes what is called as the dorsal system. No, sorry, the dorsal system is constituted by magnocellular pathway, and parvocellular pathway constitutes the ventral system. So this is being. So I hope now picture is clear. We have ventral and the dorsal system. Dorsal system is being formed by magnocellular pathway. Ventral system is formed by the parvocellular pathway. So if you look into this, this dorsal pathway is actually the magnocellular pathway. And as you can see, these are all arising from the lateral geniculate body, and these are all going from the occipital lobe to the different regions of the brain. And it is going to the secondary visual areas. Okay. It projects to the secondary visual area. Projects to secondary visual area. That is called as V3A and V5. We'll see this. Don't worry. Okay. And this, the ventral pathway is, it is being constituted by, now all of you know this, it is by parvocellular pathway. And it projects to secondary visual area. That is V8, or V4, V8, and inferotemporal areas. Okay. For now, let's keep it simple. Okay. So this is what is happening. This is what we need to know. Okay. We are usually told just to keep it like this, but remember, as a resident, we need to know about all of these things. Okay. Now, let's look into the ventral stream and the dorsal stream that as we have seen in a bit more detailed way. Now, when we look into this part, see, this is called as the, this is the dorsal pathway that is there, or the dorsal stream, and that is the, and we have a ventral stream also. So see, this is the dorsal stream or dorsal pathway. This is the ventral stream. I'm first going to write regarding the ventral stream or the dorsal stream. Let's start with the ventral stream first. Okay. Now see, ventral stream is actually called as the what system. Okay, this is called as the what system. Okay, what system means it is actually going to look into what is happening. Okay, so let's start the pathway, ventral stream. It consists of information passing from inferior occipital cortex, okay, to inferior temporal cortex. Now, it means from V1, V2, it goes to V3, V4, and then also it connects to inferior temporal cortex. This is what is ventral system. I'm going slow because you need to know these things. Okay. It actually is concerned with, let's write the function, concerned with recognition of objects, color, faces, and words. Remember this. Okay. Now let's look into the dorsal system. Now, dorsal stream, if we look, this is called as the where system. Where system, what is happening is information is passing from superior occipital cortex to parieto-occipital cortex. Passing from superior occipital cortex to parieto-occipital cortex. Remember this. So from V1, it is like V1, it is going to V3A, V5, and then to parietal lobe. So it is all arising from a single point, that is V1. Okay, let's see. So this is it. Now, the system is concerned with visuospatial function. Where, that is what it is called as, that is why it is called as where in the external space an object is located. So, visuospatial function concerned with visuospatial function, location, motion, and visually guided action. Location, motion, and visually guided action. Remember. Okay. So, this is what you need to know. Now, so now after we have seen both the things, that is the dorsal stream and the ventral stream, which is also shown in these set of pictures, okay, we need to look into what is the hierarchical system of visual processing. Now, why it is important to study the next thing that we are just having a look at, because remember, it's a hierarchy that is there inside the